Welcome to the Tom Castro Shooting Academy podcast. You have now entered the next level. I get it though. Listen, man. So that was another thing that I wanted to say. What did you like? Basically, were you planning on putting a lot of work into last year to see how it went, or was it just like what made you decide to push pretty hard? Because you pushed pretty hard last year. I remember seeing you at quite a few of the matches.
It was like 15 major matches.
That's
14
insane.
of them I went to with my gear. So
that's really insane.
No, actually, all 15 I went to with my gear, including Area 2. So,
right.
Now, was that, you were already planning on shooting those, or were those just to do the sponsorship situation? Obviously,
no, they were all, I think I shot 2 club matches last year by accident, right? Like everything else was a major. You'd think that would relate to like a really great performance, but unfortunately I was spending so much time actually doing the match stuff. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on myself, but no, that was, I saw where the Wi-Fi stuff, 2 years ago, I started doing some of this Wi-Fi stuff and realized pretty quickly that this can be a huge improvement to the match experience for both the shooters and the ROs. I mean, the stats people too, but I didn't really care about that. It was more about the improving the feel for the match for the competitor and improving the efficiency for the RO. It makes it a better experience for them too. So I was like, you know what? I was like, we can do Wi-Fi that just exists for this match. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars per match to have this stuff. And I was like, how can I best relate this to clubs that don't want to spend the money? Because I did for Area 8, I had an IT nerd, right? Like Mark Evans, absolutely awesome dude. And he was like, no, I've got all that shit. He's like, I got some battery packs. I was like, well, how much money do you need? Because I just want to put the money aside for you. And he spit me out a number and then gave me some of that back. And we had Wi-Fi for the match. But what it made is our staff for that match was able to pull all the scores and then push them. No, I think we did it live that year too. We used a hotspot. So we did it live that year as far as pushing straight to practice score. But it showed me you don't need this entire like infrastructure. You just need a couple of access points and some battery packs and you're up and running. So I went and I bought, an entire set I bought 15 iPads, 15 of the commander timers, battery backup packs. I think it's like 10 access points and some bridges and stuff like that. And I just started going all over the country, setting up Wi-Fi, I guess all over the country, but mostly up and down the East Coast, South Carolina to Maine, and set up their Wi-Fi and showed them this is the future. This is what we should all be striving for at our major matches. This is how you can do it. And I made a real hard push last year, dragging all this stuff out and showing it to a bunch of matches. And I was real excited this year when I started warning people. It's like, hey, I'm not traveling around like a lunatic this year. Is like, I need to spend some time enjoying the shooting myself.
Right.
They were like, well, what was it you brought? And I was like, oh God, just a couple access points. I went out to Area 2 and I was like, look, I want to come out and I want to support you guys. I was like, but what I don't want to do is ship, 100 pounds worth of batteries out there. I was like, what can we do to make this make sense? And they were like, well, give us a list. We'll buy the battery packs. Can you help us put it together? Absolutely. So I went there, helped them put it together, brought my access points. We set out all the internet up and they had live scoring. So, I got matches in New York, matches in Maine. You guys down in South Carolina have all stepped up and are doing your own thing. And it's absolutely amazing. That's what I wanted. So people are like, oh, we kind of got our own thing going. I was like, oh no, it's what I wanted.
You mean you don't want me to come drive down there and spend thousands of dollars?
So awesome. But I do have the tablets and timers, and I still have all the stuff. So I'm still supporting the local the Area 8 stuff near my house. But what I'm also doing is like, I got Area 7 asked if I come out and set the Wi-Fi up again. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that this year. I was like, but I'm getting a transit case this year and I'll ship you the tablets and the timers. You guys use them to your heart's content. They were like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, yeah, that's my sponsorship. And they're like, yeah, that'll be great. So shipping tablets and timers and,
and this is this is one of the things that we talked about, like kind of at our dinner was leading the way instead of just talk. People bitch and complain and say a bunch of shit, but never actually do anything with it. So it's like, that's why I told Todd, I was like, dude, we're doing something next year. Like, we're going to do it. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and talk about it. I'm going to do something about it. So that was one of the things that was like, that's kind of one of the reasons I'm glad Todd kind of invited you on, because I was like, dude, you are the reason that I was like, fuck it, let's go. Like, let's go. And then I'm like, screw you, you son. I think the last time I talked to you, I was like, you son of a bitch.
I think that's how you started off every text message we've had. Like, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Where's my batteries?
Bill told me to get a sponsor guy, and I'm like, Tom? You want me to get Tom?
Well, yeah, and that's a thing that match directors they put on themselves too much, and they don't hire out positions. Like,
we had that this year.
Sponsor coordinator.
We still had that this year though, Bill. Like, Todd, he called me the other day. He was like, dude, I'm not talking to any sponsors next year. And I said, why are you talking to sponsors this year? Why aren't you just sending them to me? He goes, well, and I'm like, Todd, this is where the nervous breakdown comes from, brother. Just send them to me and I'll talk to them. So then the worst part is once he's talked to him, I'm like, what did you say? I don't know what you've talked about.
So next year,
God,
it's all Tom.
Now you need Salesforce to coordinate your efforts.
Right.
I know,
right? Who's looking for a free match? It's well worth it. Come on in.
Ask Tom how many times he texts me. Hey, what's the link to the sponsor area again?
Oh my God, really? It's terrible, dude. The sponsors. That's another thing. Is like the other day I had to talk to him, and this is like, I don't think people understand like how it works. Like, there's so much with the sponsorship that has nothing to do with the match, and so much stuff with the match that has zero to do with sponsorship. So like, I'll message Todd something and he'll message me back, and I'm just like, dude, how many spots do we have left in the match? I want to make a post and like try to sell it out. And he's just like, we're down to 40. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't see that. I don't see how many people are signing up unless I go to the practice score link. So it's like, there's a separation where I'm like, hey, I want to make some posts about the vendor error, about this or that. And it's just like, if you aren't working well with your match director and vice versa, you have a lot of separation in things. So it's like, and it's been great. That's one of the reasons why I've worked with Todd like this for a while now, but it's just like, I could imagine if you really don't like each other. And I know of a specific match that I went to last year that the match director / co-match director didn't really like how each other was doing. Not that they didn't like each other, but they didn't like the way they ran, like, in different ways. And I was like, ooh,
that would be brutal.
That sucks.
There's some matches out there that cause a lot of drama for themselves. Well, I take that back. I don't want to blame it completely on matches. It's individuals. You
100%.
can have a match that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the individuals within that match are causing their own internal drama.
100%.
And it can bleed over and cause like heartache between clubs, even not just between people not wanting to come to the match, but between clubs. And it's so heartbreaking to see these guys not be able to get above their own egos.
I try not to take anything personal when it comes to that kind of stuff, like, because it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be a hobby. And if I turn this into a job, I'm out. Like, if I literally turn running matches or match directing at all into a job, I'm out. Like, if I start to get frustrated, I don't want to do it anymore. Because like, even my local match, I caught myself caring a little too much, right? Like, I didn't want to cancel this third Sunday match, and I'm like, oh well. Oh well, like, it's not my job. I don't get paid to do it, so whatever. If it does, people don't step up, it just doesn't happen. When I'm here, I'm here, and if I'm not here, we just lose a match. And it's up to the shooters, if they really want that match, to step up.
So when it comes to that stuff, I stood up a club here in Delaware for a little while. And we started off setting up the day before, because that's what makes a really good technical match, is if you set it up the day before. And eventually it got to the point where it was just me and one older gentleman, buddy of mine, Cliff Ward, were going out and setting up the match. And I think it was the match we were setting up, and he hit himself with the swinger, accidentally activating it. And then shortly after, hit himself with a steel popper.
Ouch.
In the head.
Oh, not the head. That was my arm.
And it dropped him to his knee. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm done doing this day before setup stuff. Right. And I told everybody, I was like, listen, if you want a stage, if you have an idea for a stage, come and set it up, because we're not doing day before anymore.
Right.
And we did have people come out and turn up the day of early to set up stages. It was a little hit or miss in the beginning. And it was mostly because it seemed like people were like, I gotta stand in this empty bay or put something on the ground. Right?
Yeah.
And we went from, the first couple matches being delayed about an hour, right, to starting the match on time because we started getting more volunteers that showed up and set the match up. The day before thing is always,
it's tough.
It's tough.
I have had quite a few people offer to come in Sunday morning. And so we're going to have to do that eventually because I'm not going to keep doing this by myself if I don't have help. Like I said, I had help this time. It was great. Saved me quite a few hours. One of the reasons why I try to set up the night before is I want to shoot, right?
You want to train on your deficiencies,
right?
Is the problem.
I want to be a shooter. Then. I want to be a shooter. I don't want to be a match director. I do match directing because who's going to do it, right? So I match direct. I do enjoy building stages, not the labor part, but designing and I really enjoy that.
You don't look like a real labor intensive liking guy.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I don't.
Hair's
do
done a little too nice. Your beard's all ruined.
I got them construction hands still. Look at that.
Look at them.
But I just so like we've had a lot of guys. Some of the issue with that though is they have to come in like. A lot of them don't live close. They're an hour, sometimes a little bit farther to come and shoot our match. So they're like, hey, if you can start the match at 9 or 9:30, I'm like, we can do whatever you guys need to do to get a match going. The problem is you start 9:30 in Florida. You don't finish till 2:30, 3 o'clock, and it is disgusting out. And nobody, you start basically losing shooters because they're dropping out because of heat and everything else. So when we start at 8:30, we're done with our match by 12:30. I mean, I run a tight ship when it comes to like, I make sure I pay attention to the stages. I don't put a 32 and a 12 next to each other. So I really pay attention to that. We actually are very consistent with our matches. We're almost always done by 12:30.
Something I've seen be successful is match director will come up with an idea for a stage, sketch it, and throw all the equipment into the bay and be like, build it or something similar. I'll be around later to check to see if there's illegal targets.
I have to start doing that more. It just takes a lot of time to build, like to draw that shit out or even put it on a piece of paper when I could just come over and put it up. But I get it. It saves me from having to labor. So I'm going to have to do some changes with that.
But again, you'll be coaching, you'll be passing the information on. Hey, you guys did a good job, but did you see the shoot through from this position?
Right.
Oh no. Yeah. How do I fix this? This is how I fix it. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, no, that works.
Yeah, I think that's the path I'm going to have to take. But I mean, like I said, I guess it's not that I don't have volunteers. I just don't have volunteers when I would like to build the stage. So that's eventually has to change, right? Because you can't make their schedules work with yours. It's easier to make your schedule work with them.
But again, even if you did a mix, Tom, and you set up a good couple technical stages and then left 3 stages for other people to build.
Yeah, this just stresses me out, dude, that we're not going to get it. Like, I mean, it's already a pain in the ass to get
stressed out doing it, and you're stressed out not doing it. What the hell?
Yeah. It's just, I want to make sure that it's ready. Like, it's so nice to walk in on Sunday morning. So I'll leave it. Let's just say the other day I left at 8:30, got there at 7 o'clock in the morning, hung all the targets, and I was still started the match a half an hour late because of the pads, because, that shit takes time. I had somebody who ran. I had a volunteer stats person, Todd. I'm not fortunate enough to have 7 slaves like you. I had 1. So it's just the way it works. So we had some pad stuff that was going on that I had to, eventually I finished what I had to do and then kind of had to step in and kind of figure it out. Got the pads lined up, handed everybody pads, and, we rock and rolled. But it's just like, there's a lot there by yourself. I mean, there's just a lot. And it's just, people don't like, and I want to shoot. Like, I am not an effing match director for this sport. I want to shoot. Like, that's why I'll never run for office until I'm done shooting. And I don't even think I'll run for office. It's not worth being bitched at, but you can never be right here at all. But it's just like, you just spend all this time putting your effort into the match. And it's just like, I don't know, just a whole lot of dudes standing there like, hey, where's the pad? Where's the timer? Like, F you, dude.
I'm ready to get started.
Yes,
It's the same chuckleheads that are getting in their car to leave and are like rolling down their window going, "Hey, your score's up yet?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As you're carrying the wall to the Connex. Fuck you.
Yeah. My favorite is we've been running 4 or 5 squads just because we don't have enough to fit 6 up, and I'll finish my last stage and I'm going to start breaking down a stage. I'll have people walk into the bay, talk to me as I'm breaking it down, and then walk out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Todd, I don't know, man. You gotta look. I
know.
I have literally driven around on a 4-wheeler telling people to go, "Hey, I need you to go grab those walls out of that bay. Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Go get this shit." Like,
I do that. I will definitely be that guy.
I need to become that guy because, yeah.
So let me give you, Bill, I want to give you an example of something that I go through on a regular basis that I have for whatever reason. I seem to have this core of 5 or 6 people that will break down the state, like put everything away. So everybody will tear it down, put it on the trailer, and then I drive it so they don't have to carry it. Right. So you would think, oh, cool. Like I'll meet you there. No, not at all. So they leave. 5 or 6 people stay and help me tear it all down. And we have very specific spots where, I mean, you can't screw this up. Like red fault lines go in this row, walls go here. I mean, you just don't think you could screw it up, right? So I come into a tornado almost every single next week when I finally get back to cleaning everything up. Stakes don't go in stake buckets. They're in the middle of all the stand. I mean, same old shit, dumb, shit that just is ridiculous for an adult. But the other day I had 4 or 5 of, actually a couple of them weren't there, didn't even come to the match, but I had 3 or 4 people that were actually my regulars that always stick around. And they looked at me and they go, "Dude, you need to say something." I go, "I'm tired of being the asshole. You say something." Like, I'm done being the asshole. Like, I'm good at this and I'm sick of it. I said, "I'm tired of yelling at people about shit. You guys say something."
No, you're not.
So
Tom, okay, Tom, I'm done
Yeah.
being a dick to people online.
No, I don't
Let's
have
just
to
make shit up.
No, I mean, dude, another guy walks up the weekend before and I built 5 stages by myself. I put up 10 swingers and activators and all this crazy shit to make this awesome match. And there's a piece of steel, 2 pieces of steel that were like 90 degrees to the berm, right? So you would shoot it, obviously before the 180, but you could get ricochets if you stood next to it. Guy looks at me, knowing all the shit that I done, all the work that I put into the match. He goes, "Hey, Tom, you should put some barrels there so no one gets hit by the ricochet." I just looked at him and I go get barrels. Like, what the going, like, these are grown adult people that are like, "Hey, dude, you going to be my bitch and do all my work for me?" It's like, oh man, I get so frustrated with lazy people. Sorry.
Well, so I mean, this isn't for everybody, but you've got 5 guys that help you put everything away, right?
That's good.
Here's my question, Tom. What have you done for those guys?
Good question. I need to figure it out.
It can be
serious. I need
something.
to figure it out.
It can be something as basic as buying their lunch, right?
Yeah.
Like, "Hey, let's all meet at the diner." I mean, this is what my local guy does. We all meet at a diner and they buy us lunch. And it wasn't that way to begin with, but he wanted to find a way to show some appreciation. He knew everybody was meeting at the diner to have lunch anyway. So we were the last table that got seated with everybody wearing their cool jerseys and everything.
Right.
So, I mean, find some way to say thank you to those guys specifically, because as much as you're feeling this whole like burnout thing, they're going to pick up on your attention. And if you don't say thank you, they're not going to want to keep participating.
Yeah.
They'll keep doing it, but they won't. Just
well, trust me, I definitely am verbal with them and always tell them thank you.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell those guys get out of my sight without a thank you every single time. I tell them, I will literally tell them, like, in front of, well, the 5 people that help, like, "You guys don't realize how much I appreciate you. Like, I do see what you're doing." It's just.
So I'm going to bring this into a new topic, Tom. So how long have you been running this match down there?
2 years.
Okay. What have you heard from USPSA as a thank you?
Oh, Jesus.
This is a terrible topic, Bill.
I'm just saying, now, hold up. No, I'm asking because it's nothing. I know it's nothing because I've done all of these roles myself, right?
Yeah.
And this is a point that I've been making to, the different area directors all the way up to the people that, that are on the board, multiple people within the board, is like, "Hey, you guys really, like, something small is going to mean a lot to people that have heard nothing from you except, hey, where's my $75 affiliation fee? Hey, you haven't paid your dues. I can't post your scores yet." Right.
Mhm.
Like, that feeling that we get as match directors from the top, we need to not spread that down. And that's all I'm trying to say. Even at the state and section level, if you guys are finding a way, like when I ran the section match, whatever, I'm tooting my own horn, but when I ran the section match, whatever money was left, there was like, I don't know, like $3,000 left. The local matches in the Virginia, Maryland area that actually had people show up to help staff the match from their club, we cut those guys a check for their club to spend money on poppers or paper or whatever they needed, as a way to say, hey, thanks for you guys showing up as a crew to help stage one of my stages.
Yep. So some of the things that I've done since we talked last time, and I'm getting ready to institute one of them, is I always make sure I had water. I'm buying lunch when I can. If like we're doing setup and we have to go out for lunch, I buy it.
Right.
Like I said, always make sure you have the water. You treat them good. They get the free stuff. And one of the things that we're just now going to do for our IDPA Steel Challenge and Cowboys, because for all of those, you have to go out the day before to set it up in USPSA. So if you got to go there the day before, you spend 4 to 8 hours on the range helping set up a match, you get 15 or 20 bucks. There's no it's not worth your time. So we're going to do a raffle for a gun or two at the end of the year. Every time you show
that's
up,
a good idea.
Every time you show up, you get an entry into the raffle. And at the end of the year, we're at least giving away a Glock. I'm going to try for more. Talk to some people, maybe like you, give some gift certificates away or stuff like that.
That's actually a really good idea, Todd. And that could be for the sponsors that want to support the camaraderie and the volunteerism of our sport. That would be a great way to get some people on board and be like, hey, it's going to last an entire year. We're going to give it away at a banquet at the end of the year. You're going to get a sponsorship for a year instead of 4 days.
Yep. And I'm not going to sell it as you're sponsoring the club. No, you're sponsoring the setup crew that sponsors the match, because really that's what it is. I'll put your banners up at the matches. I'll talk about y'all. I'll do the social media posts, but you're really sponsoring the setup crew.
Yeah. I like it, man. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And one club in the area, I saw one of their posts that they kind of did the gun thing. But I was talking to Tom, I'm like, I'm going to take it to the next level and talk to sponsors to sponsor the setup crew themselves. So there's more incentive for that.
Cool, man.
So I'll get into the little bit of spicy about that topic with the USPSA support. We have a pretty big match coming up here in a few weeks. Not a single post has been done to share our match. We have 19 vendors, or 18 vendors. Sorry, I was trying to get 19. I don't think that's going to happen though. But we have 18 vendors that are sponsoring the match. We have, which some of these companies actually give USPSA quite a few prizes. The last post that I saw about South Carolina was an event that had nothing to do with USPSA. And they shared that damn post. And I was so pissed that we have not had a single word about our match. And we have been posting about vendor after vendor after vendor. But USPSA has a lot more followers for USPSA. Why are they not sending out information about we're the first match of the year. We're the first big level 2 match of the year. Why the shit are we not talking about our match? You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Todd. You don't have to like anything we're doing. You don't, but God, Jesus, man, like where the hell is it? Like what is social media, USPSA social media for if we don't post matches? It really infuriated me, dude. Cause I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now. Like, what are we doing?
There is a separation between the org and the actual sections. There's a pretty big separation because we're affiliates of USPSA.
Yeah.
So
we're franchise.
Right. So they kind of do their own thing. And if you want special attention, you kind of gotta, I don't even know. Like, I mean, I've seen them share some things and occasionally something I've done has been shared, but it's not,
you got to kiss.
It doesn't seem to have any kind of consistency.
And
I don't know if you have to kiss up. I don't know at what level you have to, glad hand somebody to get them to share a social media post. I wouldn't bother doing it. I don't care that much.
I've heard there's sponsorship packages too that you can purchase, and they'll share your post too, but I've never confirmed or denied that.
Well, no, there absolutely is. There's, I mean, you like, for instance, Hunter's HD Gold is the official eyewear of USPSA, and he pays sponsorship to have that be his title, and that's a normal thing in the sponsorship world of other sports. So that's not unheard of. But the separation of the USPSA as the org that runs nationals and what they share is so much different. How to describe? So whenever I do a sponsorship thing, whether it's for Go Fast Don't Suck or for, you know, a match, I always set a limit. So you saw I had six partners last year, and that was it. And I had some other people that wanted to kind of jump on board, and I was like, I'm sorry, but no. And here's why. And they were like, oh, that's actually, I get that. I respect that. So when I do it like a match, you'll see a match. It's like, we've got 12 stages. We've got 24 stage sponsors. And I'm like, you got 12 stages. How does that make my stage sponsorship worth my time? And, you know, stuff like that. So finding a way to, anyway, so I think what USPSA might be doing, because I don't really get into the nitty gritty of sitting there and hashing out all the minute details of this nonsense, but I think it might be a lot of they're trying to cover what they've promised for sponsorships, because they do have set limit on what they, you know, accept as sponsors for the national level matches. And then sharing our stuff is just kind of not. I think the one time I did note that USPSA shared one of my social media posts. It was because I was at nationals, and I said thank you to a bunch of the sponsors that had banners in the background.
Yeah.
And that got shared. And I get that. I get why that would have been a share.
Yes.
My stupid meme with the dildo in it, I understand why that didn't get shared. Right? Like, I'm realistic about this. I kind of get why they don't share our stuff. But there's some other things that have been pushed down to us that I thought were kind of nonsensical. But anyway, I digress.
Yep.
They've even got their own extra.
I just get frustrated that we have the separation. Why do we have a separation? You want us to push USPSA and make the sport grow, because it doesn't grow from USPSA. It grows from us. It grows from our clubs. It grows from me talking to new shooters and treating them with respect, not just sending them to USPSA's website and say, become a member.
No, but there's been a disconnect.
I know, but that needs, how do we fix that?
No. I'm sorry. There's been a disconnect of what USPSA thinks matches can do for themselves. And the thing is if you do run matches expensively, and, you know, you run a $60 local match or something like that, or, you know, you do a $200 level 2 or something like that, you can potentially earn some money off of that. And as an affiliate of USPSA, you absolutely have every right to do that. You're using their rule book. That's what you're paying for, the affiliation of the rule book, and be able to say that it's a USPSA match. So whatever money you make off of that is your business. And there was a time where the leadership of USPSA couldn't understand why we weren't making gobs and gobs of money off of our shooters coming to our matches. And honestly, it's like, because we don't do that. We wouldn't want that for ourselves. Why would we do that to our fellow competitors? I wouldn't charge my buddy $60 to come shoot 6 stages. What the hell? We're still charging the same $20, man. Like,
I don't think people realize that there is a lot of non-wealthy people that shoot this sport.
No.
Like, not everybody that shoots this sport is uber rich. And I think there's a lot of people out there that, like the staff reset conversation, those people, they have more money than others. There are people like me who pick up brass on the ground still. I mean, I'm not a range chicken. I'm not picking up 38 super because I need that specific round, but I will pick up a shit ton of brass and then go separate it, because that's a couple $100 in cash in my pocket that I don't have to buy. So those are things where there's a big separation. And I don't know if that's just because they don't have to pay for matches when they go to matches, or what it is, that separation. But you start cutting into that. You start traveling around to all these matches and start adding it up. Yeah, I mean, I know there's local guys. I just had to raise my price to $25 for my local match, right? I've been holding on for that for 2 years. We went through COVID. We went through all this bullshit, and I didn't raise my price until now, right? And I had to, because there's a lot of waste. I wasn't going to raise my price, but for 3 fucking months, I told everybody, stop throwing shit on the ground, stop throwing no shoots in the garbage, stop taking no shoots home, stop taking stuff. It all costs money and I'm not going to pay for it. And they kept doing it. So I said, okay, $25,
Sorry,
there you
guys,
go.
you did it to yourselves.
Right. And it sucks because I still hate it, but it's like, look, this is how it works. Like, I'm not paying for it. So I'm not going to lose money doing this sport.
Yeah.
So I
But
mean,
like I said,
don't get me wrong. I lose a shit ton of money doing this sport since I don't win anything, even if I win anything.
Yeah, right. Like, you get 2 really nice trophies if you win because you won your division and you won your class, right? Like,
right. Well, no, you only get one.
Get it.
Well, I'm not a GM, so I still get 2. So.
Right. So for me, it's like that whole participation trophy. I got first place in GM, but I got high overall also. So you only get 1 trophy, and the guy who actually got second gets that participation trophy first place. I remember the first time that ever happened to me. A guy won high overall, and he won, I think it was master at the time, in carry optics in a steel, like a steel match or a fall over steel match. And I walked up to him and I tried to do it super quiet, which, I'm not the quietest person, but I was pretty quiet because I was like, hey man, here, you can have this trophy too. And he was like, no, it's cool, man. I got one, but that one's for you. I go, bullshit. I took fucking second. Take this fucking, I don't want this crap hanging on my wall. I didn't earn that.
I did hear of a recent IDPA match that did something like that. Like they gave away whatever the winner of the division, and then they gave away first, second, third, fourth. And I was like, no,
it's
I
not,
know in USPSA it says you get all of the trophies that you've earned. And if you've won high overall and a first place trophy, you're supposed to get both. And
that's not what
law
they do,
enforcement and a high lady, whatever you got.
But USPSA doesn't even do that. USPSA has got it to where now if you win high overall, the person that took technically second gets first overall in the match. Yeah, that's what they do. I'm not kidding. It's happening a lot.
That's retarded.
They just did it over here at the Florida State. I saw a guy who took technically second.
Was that the steel? Wait, was that USPSA or was that
no, USPSA? Nope, USPSA.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. But they've been doing it a lot now. And again, it's
how could you be proud of that knowing you got second? Like
you'd be surprised how many people were pretty excited about that first place trophy, even though technically they got second. So it's winning is a real son of a bitch to some people. It tests that integrity very quickly. Winning and losing will test your integrity very quickly. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this match. I'm excited. I'm actually like, I'm chomping at the bit to get to work. I know that sounds really dumb, but I'm going to come in a week early. Todd and I are going to, I'm going to make Todd work out every day that I'm there. It's going to be awesome because he never works out. So he's going to just absolutely be waddling everywhere. It's going to be great.
Good. So between his, hypertension and his physical exertion, he's pretty much, Todd, you're up to date on your life insurance.
Yes.
Do me a favor, send me your social. I got something I need to do.
Actually, what you need to do is make sure that policy. You make sure you have a backup plan to get your shit back in case he croaks.
That's you, Tom.
It's got a return label. I'll pay somebody to put them in a box.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tom's staying at my house. He can get it back to you.
Did you already send all the banners yet, or no? You still working on them?
No. Actually, printing your big ass banner, Todd, I ran out of material with only 2 feet left to go. I was like,
oh shit.
So, and then I had to fly away for 3 days. So tomorrow I'm going to buy 2 more 160-foot rolls of banner material and mesh banner. I got a match asking for mesh banner. So
what do they do with the mesh banner? Is it let the wind through better, or what is that for?
It's a misunderstanding of the product is what it really is. So mesh banners do allow a better visual of you be able to see if there's somebody downrange or not, which is nice.
Yeah,
you don't get as clear of an image of what's on the banner.
Right.
But there's a misunderstanding that they're designed to be blow through with the wind, and really they were only designed to be more lightweight when they're hanging big ass 60-foot banners off of buildings and shit.
Right.
And I mean, it does let a little bit of wind through, but I mean, people just have their preference. That's what they want. And I'm like, well, I can do it. How long do you need it to last? Because I'm not hemming these damn things. I don't got the sewing machine for it.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Todd, you got anything?
No, I'm good. I just appreciate everything Bill does for the sport and what he's done for this match this year, because I don't think he realizes how much the conversations I had with him last year, that you had with him, and the dinners that are really going to impact the match this year. And I learned so much in 3 days last year than I probably learned from anybody else or could have, just because you were around for that time. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, last year for sure, you definitely. I didn't realize how deep you were into the sport. So like that, like yesterday, or like when we had that dinner, I was just like, holy shit, like he's really been involved. Like, what an idiot. So
Yeah, like, why does he even have a social life? Oh, he doesn't. He makes fun of people on the internet.
Yeah, it's like I use that old find the next sucker thing all the time. We're always laughing and joking. I was like, yeah, that guy's an idiot. He actually wants to learn how to RO, like shit like that.
Yeah,
he
right.
wants to learn how to volunteer.
And there's people actually out there that believe that to their core. Like, why would you ever RO? I did it once. It was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that old got to get your certification thing is hilarious, because some of the best ROs I know are not certified ROs. Some of the worst are the certified guys.
I mean, you still hear them out on the range once in a while, tell you to ask you if you understand the course of fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Or which way are you going to go?
Yeah, which way are you going to go? Because you can always believe the shooter that they're going to do the thing that they think they're going to do when the buzzer goes
right?
off.
Yeah, that's hilarious. We had some of that at the last local match. I was working with a guy, and he asked the guy, "Where are you going to go?" And I said, "Look, you don't do that. Like, you're just there to hold the timer and give the safety command. Safety first, and then just all you have to do is know if he goes left, hang back, wait for him to go right, because he's going to go right. You just know the stage." And it was good. Like, again, it's the mentoring somebody, right? Like, hope, and you learn a shit ton from it. You
don't have to chase them around with a timer like this.
Right, exactly.
Especially with the AMGs. Just do this 10 feet back. Right. You're good.
I mean, teaching somebody just to look at the timer click, like understanding how the microphone works, and that you look at the timer when the guy's shooting the last shot, then you can see if it clicked or not. Like, just that explanation is missing in a lot of the
Tom. How many times have you been on a range at a match and you saw somebody do something? They covered the ejection port of their 40 Glock with their hand and racked that round into their hand. And you were like,
yeah, a lot.
And you really had to try very hard not to go, don't do that. It's stupid.
I don't say shit. It's not my business. You want to lose a hand? It's not. And because I remember the last time I said something to someone, they go, yeah, but it's fine. It's good. Look, see, I catched around. I said, okay, sounds good. And I just walk away. Next time they unload, I just back up just a little bit.
I tried.
Yeah.
I just back up just a
Adjust
little
your
bit.
Safety glasses a little bit. Centered up. Fingers in your ears.
Back up a little bit. Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, everybody get your phone ready. So, but all right, guys. Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I feel like we got a lot of great information out about why you ruined our entire year.
You're welcome.
Putting this match together now. And all right, guys, if you have any questions, hit me up in those comments, and I'll see you on the range.